The NCAA is doing NCAA things. The absolute screwiest organization that I have ever come across, and it's not even close. Who are these people? Who are these people?
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. We're talking about the Mountaineers in the courtroom today, and it's not great news at all. As a matter of fact, it's bad news all the way around for the most part. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Goody brought to you by Monarch Money. We talk about Monarch Money mostly because, hey, I need help. You need help. We all need a little bit of help taking control of our finances. You can do so today with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Sometimes you just got to take a deep breath, right? Sometimes you just have to take a deep breath. The NCAA is pulling out all the stops, man, today. I've been in contact with Sam Ehrlich, who I've had on the show. Lucky to have on, sports attorney. Let's just say that there is a lot of confusion as to how the NCAA is going about its business. I think at the end of the day, I just don't appreciate the way the NCAA is handling their side of it. They're trying to screw these people over. It's just what it is. They're trying to screw kids over, man, that deserve a chance to play. If you look at what they're trying to say about Jimmori Robinson and Jeff Weimer, for that matter, in Weimer's case, they're saying the denial for Jeff Weimer is because West Virginia didn't put him on the official roster. So the initial waiver for Weimer was denied first. The initial waiver was denied, right? So West Virginia said, okay, fine, we're not going to put him on the roster. Well, now West Virginia is suing for his eligibility because his initial waiver was denied. And the NCAA is saying, well, you don't have him on the roster. That's proof he shouldn't be eligible. What? What are we talking about here? You said he wasn't eligible, so we didn't put him on the roster. Now you're trying to gaslight and say that, well, he's not on the roster. Why should he be eligible? You can't make it up, right? You can't make it up. So there's obviously that piece of it. There is the fact that the NCAA in their briefings, I have Sam Ehrlich right here. It says, let me make sure. He said, talking about the academically ineligible part of this, with Jimmori Robinson, he's saying dropping that in a hearing is absolutely wild. There's nothing in the briefs about it. He said, we're to do it to just one of the four, though, if that's just the case. So what he's saying is, because I said, is it retaliatory? And he said, it'd be weird to only attack Jimmori Robinson if that was the case, right? So, maybe it's not retaliatory, but why wouldn't West Virginia know in the months previous to now that he was academically ineligible? It makes no sense. And this is what the NCAA is trying to come up with. This is their argument. Let me catch everybody up for those of you that are just coming in on the back end of this. All right. because we're in August 19th, 2025. The hearing wrapped up moments ago, which basically pits 4 West Virginia University players against the NCAA, and they're seeking a temporary injunction to override the NCAA's eligibility rules. Specifically, they're using the antitrust playbook and the 5-year eligibility clock for eligibility, right? And so they can gain immediate clearance to suit up for the Mountaineers this season. While there's no decision from the judge yet, some revelations have come out during the proceedings now that could shake up the roster even further. And so Tye Edwards, Jeff Weimer, Justin Harrington, and Jimmori Robinson, all 4 are in the same scenario generally, maybe for different reasons for them, but most of it has to do with, hey, I played JUCO. Those years shouldn't count towards my 5-year eligibility clock. In some cases, some of these players would still have a year left of eligibility if the NCAA didn't have the rule, hey, you've got 5 years to play for, that kind of thing. So there's that part of it. The hearing kicked off today at 2:00 in district court. Judge John Preston Bailey overseeing this, which is the same judge who ruled in Raekwon Battle's favor in the 2023 case against the NCAA rules, which was also antitrust. So, obviously this history has fans optimistic, but I think outcomes in these cases are inconsistent at best. And the player side, like I said, pushing that 5-year eligibility limit and they're saying it's anti-competitive and harms athletes. So if granted the injunction, they'll be able to play immediately while the lawsuit plays out, potentially into the season even, which would probably at least happen for at least the first game or two. And the NCAA is saying, look, here's another thing they're saying. West Virginia has 119 players when the limit is 105, but there's no hard scholarship limit anymore. So what are they talking about? It makes no sense. Somebody make that make sense. But the real shocker was definitely that Jimmori Robinson is academically ineligible. News to everybody involved, for sure. And even those, I would imagine, inside the building at West Virginia are even shocked at this. That's what I'm getting from people. So regardless of the eligibility waiver outcome, he has an eligibility academic issue now. Basically, it means he didn't meet the progress towards degree requirement by completing at least 6 total credit hours in his first semester at UTSA. This isn't something that just a judge can rule on, I don't think. So, because it's a compliance issue, right? So if it's verified, it means Robinson wouldn't be able to play even with an injunction, from my understanding. Maybe I'm wrong. But it would be a heartbreaker, obviously, for Jimmori and for West Virginia. I just now seeing here, Jimmori Robinson messaged me and asked me not to even talk about it. Jimmori, I'm sorry. I'm just now seeing this. He just said don't put out information that's not going to help. I'm just going to tell him really quick. I'm live now. All I've said, sorry guys, I just want to make sure he knows, said is that they said academics, nothing else. I didn't see this until I was already live. So anyway, I apologize, Jimmori, if you're watching this. I just now saw, but point being, guys, the NCAA is so inconsistent. So there's just no way you can justify not putting in the briefs that this was the case. Why was him being academically ineligible not in the briefing for everybody? Why did you want to hide that till the last minute? What reason? So that West Virginia couldn't prepare? It makes no sense. Let's go to break. We'll come right back and we'll continue to discuss this topic that is just insanely The NCAA is holding on to what little power they have left. This could be one of the last strokes they ever get, and I'll be glad for it. We'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by Drip Drop. We talk about Drip Drop, guys, because if you're trying to stay on top of your routine, whether that's workouts, long days on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, hydration is where it all starts, and that's where Drip Drop comes in. And whether I'm on top of my hydration, I notice everything works better. Energy, mood, focus, skin. But getting enough fluids every day isn't always easy. That's why I've been loving that Drip Drop. Drip Drop is doctor-developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of the leading sports drink. Right now, Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. All you have to do today is head over to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is also going to be brought to you by Prize Picks, guys. And listen, when it comes to Prize Picks, you got to pick or you don't get a prize. It's pretty simple. It's basic math, right? And the daily fantasy platform known as Prize Picks was going to let you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football is not far behind. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks, breakout running backs, or what have you, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On College to get $50 in lineups after you play that first $5. You can do it at Prize Picks today. Run your game. It's segment 2. Let's crack a do. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not happy. It's not like I want to be like, it's segment 2. Let's crack a do. That's normally how we do it. I need to get a drink. You know what I need? In case it's bad news, I need to get a secondary drink that I don't like and just always have it on hand just in case something bad happens. So it's like it's segment 2 and I can drink this horrible drink that I don't like, which means something bad's happening to West Virginia. All right. So here we are in the middle of what's up, everybody. An eligibility suit, obviously, between the NCAA and 4 West Virginia players, all equally important in their own right. I really do believe that. This is an important distinction to make, is that this is not West Virginia. This is the players. I think a lot of people are lumping in West Virginia. That's why on my thumbnail, I made it personal to Jimmori Robinson. Because I think it's kind of important to make sure that we understand that West Virginia is not tied to this necessarily. They're tied to it in that they stand to benefit. But they're not tied to it in that, that they have, they're not suing the NCAA, basically, right? So these basically, that's headlined by Jimmori Robinson. It's his name on the docket, and then the other 3 guys. Now, something I was told by Sam Ehrlich when he was on here the other day is it should be 1 yes or 1 no. Here's the problem. The NCAA in the briefing has held off on putting anything about this academic eligibility. And as a result, if it's all going to be ruled yes or no, it just makes me wonder, do you think they did this so that since it's all yes or all no, since he's academically ineligible to start and begin with as your starting point, does that mean that everybody else is no as well? Because that's the way they filed this thing. They filed all 4 together. They didn't file separately. They filed all 4 at once. Just a question from a layman, right? I don't know the answer. I'm sure the judge can decide to rule on these individually if he wants. But, and I've seen some other people put out there, hey, look, if it's not Jimmori Robinson, I don't care anymore. I would highly, highly ask you not to think that way. Yes, Jimmori Robinson probably has the most upside and can make the most impact of any one guy. I would argue that Tye Edwards could make just as big of impact or close. But, all these guys stand to make an impact. So it's really not about impact, though, is my point. Is it's about fairness. It's about treating these players right and correct. Yes, are they a little bit old to be playing college football in some of these cases? Sure. But we aren't in the same kind of times that have been before the last 5-6 years, right? Think about this. All these dudes here would have been recruited during the COVID era. Every single one of them. I've said this before. I feel like COVID era players deserve a break even beyond what they were given with the COVID year, because during COVID, it's a known fact, recruiting was down over 50% nationally. So coaches weren't able to go out and see players. Camps weren't being had for multiple years. So what that did was it allowed a player like Jimmori Robinson to get overlooked and go to junior college, or a guy like Tye Edwards to get overlooked and go to JUCO, or a guy like Justin Harrington to get overlooked and go to JUCO, or a Jeff Weimer. And as a result, they lost a couple years of their college eligibility during that time because, unfortunately, once you begin your college clock, it starts. You got 5 years to play for. Doesn't matter if you break your arm, break your neck, get paralyzed. You better be able to get back up and walk again before that 5 years is up. No matter if you get paralyzed the first game of your freshman year. So, that's just the way it rolls for them. And I understand why that rule is in place, but it's just like anything else. As the times change, things change, and the same rules don't apply to these players as did Tim Tebow in his era, right? Much less, we had Eugene Napoleon on here earlier, Eugene Napoleon in his era in the 80s, right? So things can't be judged the same anymore. It's a pretty easy thing to see if you ask me, but it seems to me the NCAA can't figure that out for whatever reason. So what's happened here? This is significant out of nowhere for Jimmori Robinson, right? People inside the building were not aware, from what I understand. I'm getting feedback as we're live here that he was going to be academically ineligible from the NCAA, what they're saying. So that's, a wild thing, man. I just can't get past that we're just finding out about it. I mean, all they would have had to do was call, like it's what I don't understand is it's like moving a mountain to get anything done. And I don't understand why. I get it. You got thousands and thousands and thousands of these on your desk. I totally get that. But, or however many you got, maybe it's just hundreds, but I get that. Don't trust me, I do. But when you get down to, okay, it's or out, why does he have to find out in the courtroom what's happened? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating, guys. We'll go to break one more time. On the other side, we'll put a bow on this one and figure out where we go from here. We'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Open Phone. And Open Phone is kind of cool, guys. It's this technology that we're talking about at Locked On quite a bit here, actually, lately. And I'm fairly interested in trying it for myself. I'm still kind of wondering if it's more for a business or if it's more for, just any other kind of person, regular person, whatever. But if you're running a business, every missed call is money left on the table, right? Well, think about the last time you needed a service. If the person you didn't answer for free. That's open phone today. No missed calls, no missed customers. All right, guys. I'm not still frozen, am I? It only lasted for a second, didn't it? Apologies, guys. Okay. Yeah, I thought we were. Yeah, I knew it froze up for a second and it's staying unstable. So, I mean, you know, I got another service call for tomorrow. So hopefully it gets fixed. But, you know, as of now, it's only happened once. But anyways, I appreciate you guys for joining in. Obviously Judge Bailey can make a decision and it can change everything. But as I am getting information, receiving information while we're literally live doing this, you know, from what I understand, I don't know if there's anything a judge can do about. I just don't know if there's anything a judge can do about academic eligibility. I don't know. It's a frustration. Because I liken it to this. If you hire me to put a roof on your house and you pay me and I don't come back and fix it, technically I'm stealing from you, right? But it's a civil matter now, right? It's a civil matter now. It's no longer criminal. Well, I feel like, similarly to this situation with them, it's like, is it the same thing? Is him being academically ineligible? Should a judge be able to rule on that? And should he be able to play anyways, especially when he's basically an employee? Yeah, he should be. But the NCAA is so trifling, so disgusting, so dirty, so downright. I mean, they're pieces of garbage. They really, truly are. You can't even make an excuse for them anymore. Like I tried to make excuses for him in the past because I was blinded by the system we had. At this point, it's like it's crumbled to the ground, man. And I feel like they're just making it hard on people while they've got jobs as things fall apart towards the end here. So, cut and dry, at the end of the day, here we sit. Things that are not off to a great start. There are things about this that could happen that'll be good for West Virginia still. So I don't want to lose sight of that. There are other people besides Jimmori involved. There's Jeff Weimer. There's Tye Edwards, right? There are others. Justin Harrington. So, not that it's all about Jimmori. It's just Jimmori is the most visible, probably the most important. But, I mean, important is a bad word. He's the most impactful on the field player that's involved here that at least we think, on paper. But, obviously there are others involved here and hopefully we can at least get a couple of these guys eligible. I think running backs need Tye. I mean, you can make an argument Tye Edwards is just as big. I think running back room, you can make a big case that you need him. Obviously, Jimmori would totally turn our Bandits room around. Harrington would directly back up Fred Perry and be a great piece. And Jeff Weimer probably, I believe, by the end of the year would be one of the starters in the wide receiver room, or at least getting starter snaps. So, yeah, these are all four big pieces. It's just that you can't replace 10 sacks, which is what Jimmori Robinson brings to the table. Let's say he loses a couple sacks when he moves up to the Big 12. Okay, 8 sacks. That's a major, major impact on your team, right? So, yeah, this is not great. It's not where we wanted to begin, but here we are. I just want to say that I'm sorry to Jimmori. If you watch this again, I certainly didn't want to get on here. I don't want to make things harder on him. I don't want to ever make things worse for these players because they don't deserve that, from anybody or me or anything. But I just think, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes when it comes to this topic here, I get a little tongue tied because you can only say so much about the NCAA that's not been said or implied by anything. But we'll just recap one more time exactly what's happened, then we'll jump off here. So, these players, all four of these players, are suing the NCAA. They're trying to challenge the 5-year eligibility rule because they've had to play in JUCO, which is not even affiliated with the NCAA, by the way. The 5-year clock, the whole thing there. And now eligibility is coming to play basically out of nowhere. The NCAA dropping a little bit of a bomb that they've held close to the vest, tight to the vest. Probably they were expecting this to come. This is why they did it. And here we are. So Jimmori Robinson deemed academically ineligible for now. We'll see how long it holds out. I am hoping against hope that all things move in his favor. And if they do, that's great. If they don't, then we'll talk about it later or tomorrow. The other guys, let's keep out hope. Obviously, Tye Edwards is the one we're looking at, and Justin Harrington. At this point, I think both those guys can absolutely help us this year. So all is not lost, right? We can at least get some of these players back. Let's just pray for these kids, man, and send good vibes out. And think about what you say before you say it, to the NCAA or anything, because all we can do is make it worse on us, right? Make sure you like the video before you leave out of here, please, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here, and share the channel out. If you're watching over on X, which it says almost 400 of you are, will you please hit the like button when you're over there as well, too, and hit the repost button on the video, repost the stream. That would mean a lot to me, guys. I appreciate y'all so very much for everything you do. And we'll talk later. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. A lot to digest here for sure. Make sure you check out the video from earlier. We asked Eugene Napoleon, who was obviously a great college running back for West Virginia. The sincere Bowers remind him of Tavon Austin a little bit. You'll be surprised to hear what he said on that. And I will talk to you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. Make sure you check out Locked On Portal, as he does an excellent job as well. Brian does just a beastie job covering the portal. And don't forget recruiting. So he does all that, guys. And we'll see you guys later. Screw you, NCAA.